Alright guys, we're gonna jump right into the meat and potatoes of this video. There's a lot of conversation, a lot of people making videos about this, a lot of conversation on Twitter, X, about the implications that this has for the gaming industry as well as large corporations like Microsoft, and whether or not this is something that we can actually take heart in the fact that this is a positive sign that things are shifting in the right direction for the games industry. Now, I'm gonna say that this could be a good thing and it could be a very bad thing, and I'll get to why in a minute. So this headline here from That Park Place says, report Microsoft axes an entire DEI team claiming DEI programs everywhere are no longer business critical or smart as they were in 2020, which I think honestly most people would come to expect at this point. The reality is they are getting this money, this investment, these funds from these investment firms like, BlackRock and Vanguard by promoting this diversity, equity, inclusion initiative that gets them that higher ESG score, which in turn helps them financially, despite the fact that they had bought up all these studios and they're facing these massive losses from games that just underperform due to bloated budgets and overspending at the development level. But the reality is they can't afford to keep doing this much longer. So this article says a new report claims that Microsoft has eliminated an entire diversity, equity, and inclusion team, with a manager claiming that DEI programs everywhere are no longer business critical or smart as they were in 2020. And that statement there is what we're going to kind of focus on in a minute, because a lot of people are taking this as a sign that basically the woke mind virus is collapsing and DEI is going to kind of fall by the wayside. I don't think that's the case, but we'll get to that in a second. This new report comes from Business Insider's Ashley Stewart, who writes, after Microsoft laid off an internal team focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion, a team leader blasted the company for a lack of investment in these efforts. The email from the manager stated in part, true systems change work associated with DEI programs everywhere are no longer business critical or smart as they were in 2020. The report also noted the team was eliminated because of changing business needs as of July 1st. Now, obviously, we all know that with these businesses and the amount of money that they spend from the top to the bottom with their CEOs, their C-suite staff, all the way down to the developer level, there's a lot of wasted money, a lot of time, a lot of bloat that gets kind of thrown around because they have the funds 1 minute, and then a month later, the company's like treading water, and then they sink down beneath the surface, and they can't ever, dig their way back out of it. The reality is, these are the programs that get cut once that happens. These DEI programs, the human resources side of it, the extra bloat is what's causing a lot of the issues with the games industry itself. That's where a lot of this extra spending is just causing these games to have their budgets skyrocket, to where games like Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League went to, I think, above $200 million or close to $200 million. Absolutely insane for a game that's essentially dead now. I mean, I just picked up a free copy of it today with Prime Day, so go get your free copy if you want to play the game. It's free through tomorrow, I think. The article says, despite the team being scrapped, Microsoft spokesman Jeff Jones did commit the company to diversity and inclusion moving forward. Quote, our D&I commitments remain unchanged. He then added, our focus on diversity and inclusion is unwavering, and we are holding firm on our expectations, prioritizing accountability, and continuing to focus on this work. Again, here's the situation, and this is what I feel like this is not necessarily the positive sign that we've all been hoping for, that things are going to start getting back to somewhere more normal, to something less, extreme and radical that we've been seeing in the games industry. A lot of these things at this point, at the level of indoctrination and the fear of speaking out against it that we've seen in these industries, in these companies, is embedded at like the genetic level, to where these people don't need somebody over the top of them, a team of people over the top of them, to make them try and be inclusive. You have this inclusivity framework that Xbox put out a while ago, right? And this we talked about months ago on the channel, where they're intentionally trying to make their video game characters, their female characters, less desirable, trying to make them uglier, not appeal to the male gaze, right? And then we have studios like Ninja Theory, which Microsoft paid $117 million for, and their biggest game, I think their most notable game in the last 6-7 years, was Hellblade, which was a pretty fantastic game in my personal opinion. They then went on to release Hellblade 2 this year, and the game is dead. I played through it, I hated it. The game was definitely more of the Sweet Baby Inc. influence, because we know Xbox Game Studios has been collaborating with them now for years. And the game now is virtually dead. It has fallen off the Steam charts. In fact, if you look at Steam right now, 41 people playing this game on Steam. And the reality is it never cracked the top 10 as far as sales or concurrent players. Xbox has basically come out and said, yeah, this game was a failure. It was a flop, right? So this is going to be another studio in the list of studios that they have, Microsoft has acquired, that they're going to have to close. Because the reality is, they spent an exponential amount of money buying up all these studios, owning all these properties over the last couple of years, billions of dollars in acquisitions, and what they've done is they've allowed this ESG DEI agenda to infiltrate the way that they develop games, and basically this is a narrative that they've been trying to push for years now, and unfortunately, now they can't afford the DEI teams at Microsoft to push this messaging. Well, but again, the reality is they don't need it anymore. So, for example, you have this rebrand that's been happening over the last couple of years called Bridge. Bridge and Jedi, two different ways of saying the exact same thing, that they are trying to basically sneak DEI in as a completely different term for the exact same thing. So Jedi stands for Justice, Equity, Diversity, Inclusion. So all they did was rearrange the words and add justice before it. And it's something that we've seen now for the last 2 or 3 years that they've really been trying to transform DEI into, as well as this bridge thing, which Kirsch Verstaal on Twitter has been massively covering, like endlessly for the last few months. And this, again, bridge stands for benchmark race, inclusion, and diversity in global engagement. And the G, essentially, in the bridge word stands for the gap that they're trying to bridge. The reason that they talk about the fact that they're going to phase out their DEI team as it's no longer financially viable is because they have cooked this into, they've baked it into the actual the fabric of these companies, and they don't need these teams of people anymore. Sure, they're still going to have 1 or 2 people. They're going to have human resources. They're going to have these people involved, basically overseeing and making sure that people are staying on task when it comes to, trying to keep their ESG score up. But they're no longer going to be paying a whole team of people just to promote this agenda. And while that is a fantastic thing to see that they're going to be firing these people and not, paying excess money to bring these people in and have them tell you how to be inclusive, that doesn't change the fact that this is now hardwired into this industry, and it's not going anywhere. I mean, we're still going to have to wait for this next video game crash to happen before things are going to rapidly change, because Microsoft is not backing out of their involvement with, investment firms like BlackRock and Vanguard. They are not abandoning their ESG messaging, and they're trying to achieve a higher ESG score through their DEI messaging and training. All they are simply doing is trying to cut corners and cut costs in order to essentially alleviate some of the bloat that they have caused from spending an exponential amount of money for the last 5 to 10 years, buying up studios, buying up their competitors, trying to appeal to everybody, also chasing that elusive ESG score by trying to promote themselves as a diverse and inclusive company. And ultimately what it's done is it's created the situation where it's just embedded in their company and they don't have to pay these people to do this anymore. I think that's just honestly where we're at. I mean, it's a good sign in one respect that they are firing these people who are promoting the ESG-driven agenda, but the reality is I only think that they're firing them because they don't need them anymore. This has been infected into the games industry as well as other studios because of companies like Sweet Baby Inc., who all they have to do is be associated with them, have them on a client list, and that instantly drives their ESG score up. But you guys let me know what you think about all this. Do you think this is actually a positive thing? Am I just too black-pilled on it? Because honestly, I don't think this is the win that everybody else is claiming it is. But let me know what you think about it, and I'll see you later. All right, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have 2 channels, Minimal Effort Podcast, as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBO at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.